What's up guys, my name is JadyCut5 and welcome to the Chelsea vs Brighton preview where Chelsea take on Brighton at home at Stamford Bridge on a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Before we do get into this video, if you haven't done so already, please like, please subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Returning to Premier League action after a triumphant win against Barrow in the Carabao Cup, we're looking to be able to see if we can pick up 3 points against the Seagulls, and let's be said, it's not going to be an easy run. Brighton are yet to lose a game in this particular start of the season. Obviously, they've got one of the youngest managers in the league, and it was always a bit of a sceptical and a kind of decision where De Zerbi left last season and they brought in this new manager from St. Pauli Bundesliga team, whether it actually worked. And for the start of things, to be honest, it's been doing pretty well. They've won 2 games and they've drawn 3. Chelsea have won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1. So, in all fairness, we're still in a better position, even though that we've lost a game. Bearing in mind, obviously, that Brighton haven't lost as of yet. Brighton are always a good side. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. In terms of going forward, they display a lot of attacking kind of pizzazz, and going at the back as well. They've always been solid with the lots of players that they have had. I can't really fault them whatsoever. I feel like they're the sort of complete side in terms of a team that doesn't really spend a lot of money but seems to get the best out of players and sells them on for higher values, which is always a good kind of thing to have as a club, and it's definitely the best way to go. I mean, Brighton have earned a load of money from Chelsea over the years, especially after Todd Bowley come appointed. So it's interesting to see. The game for us shouldn't be too difficult with the way that we're playing, but the only thing that I think is a little bit problematic is the consistency that we have lacked over the time. We haven't showed that too much this season. There's been a little bit of it, but we've been definitely on the road in terms of being in a better position to where we have been previously, especially at the start of the season. Nevertheless, that still puts some doubts in my head for where that consistency could creep in, our inconsistency, shall we say, and I feel like it could be a big factor where we kind of put a downfall. Brighton are going to be up for this game. They've played against Arsenal this season. They played against United. They picked up points against both teams. Arsenal, they drew. United, they won. On the road, they've been pretty comfortable at the same time. They're coming off of back-to-back draws, bearing in mind. They would like to be able to get 3 points in this particular fixture like anyone. But they have had a few draws as of late, so it's going to be interesting to see. It's been it's a strong start for us. We've picked up 10 points from the opening 5 league matches. We're sixth in the table as of the moment, 3 points behind the leaders, Manchester City. So, in my sort of way of thinking, it's just a case of putting the pressure on the teams that you've got around you. And as much as Brighton are a strong team, it's not the strongest that we're going to play throughout the season. So if we can pick up points against Brighton and do ourselves good, we've got Nottingham Forest the week after. So again, that should be another 3-point game. It's about picking points up against the lesser teams to be able to have it when you do face the bigger teams and you are to drop points. It's not going to hit you so significantly. So it's an interesting game, it has to be said. And I'm looking forward to it. In all fairness, I will be going to the game myself. There will be a review after the game. Just bear with me tomorrow. Now, this is Brighton's run as of the moment. They've had a pretty good start to this season, as I mentioned. They've won against Everton at the start of the season. They shocked United in the last 90. They went on their Carabao Cup run against Crawley Town and won 4-0. Draw against Arsenal, they could have definitely won. And a draw against Ipswich, where it was a little bit lacklustre. And a win in the week against Wolves. So they've been a little bit hit and miss, but at the same time, they're definitely showing consistency and being able to pick up points and not lose games. They definitely know how to win games and less of the losing. So you cannot write off Brighton whatsoever, and this is a big game for us to be able to prove that we have got consistency in the side and we can pull together a load of results in a decent amount of time. Now, our form over the years against Brighton has been fairly hit and miss, it has to be said. Overall, we've won 15 games, we've drawn 5, and we've lost 3. Currently, in the last 5 against Brighton, we have only won 3 and lost 2. So, it's not exactly the most biggest stat that screams out, and you would think, you know what, we've been pretty dominant against the side. There's no saying that whatsoever. At the same time, we did well against them last season, winning at home and away, which is always a big factor because we always seem to struggle at the Amex. But there's been other points where we've been really poor against Brighton, and they've definitely been the dominant force. There's no reason why that should be the case with the players on paper and the way that we've been playing, and Maresca has set us up. But that could creep in time, and we could find ourselves drawing the game or even losing. Now, before we do get into the predicted lineup, I want to get into my score prediction. I reckon a Chelsea 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1 game. In all fairness, I just feel like we're going to have that little bit too much for Brighton. I feel like there might be some complacency in there. the Stamford Bridge, and I've always been a big factor of this. Stamford Bridge has never been a fortress for atmosphere. So if the players aren't showing anything, the fans won't give it back, and I've always found that as a fan and so on. So if the players can get kind of the fans can get behind the players, if there were to be a decent start to the game and we can see some goals, then that might just be a different factor. Otherwise, we are going to be hearing the away fans for the majority of the game, and that's always been the case at a lot of the home stadiums, and that always will be the case. But it will be nice if we can get behind the boys and really give this game some sort of oomph to be able to G them up. Otherwise, I feel like it will just be a slight lacklustre finish. But I still think we'll be too comfortable and we'll be okay and we'll get a 2-1 victory. But don't take my word for it. Now, this is going to be my lineup that is hopefully facing Brighton Hove Albion, and if this is the case, and I feel like we've got a very good team on paper. Robert Sanchez in goal, he's been phenomenal ever since the takeover of Enzo Maresca. He's really kind of silenced the doubters, and I was one of them in all fairness. I've never been a kind of the biggest kind of fan of Sanchez, and if anything, the biggest critic. He never displayed anything last season that gave me any sort of confidence whatsoever, but this season he's pulling together some clean sheets. He's really shown some consistency in his saves, and he's had some match-winning saves at the same time. So no doubt between myself why Robert Sanchez can't be in between the six. I've gone for a centre-back pairing of Tosin and Colwill. I'm not too sure in Fofana. He did pick up a knock, but at the same time I feel like Tosin just looks that little bit more comfortable compared to Wesley Fofana. Whether that's the case of match fitness and so on, whether Tosin suits the system more than Fofana, I'm not too sure. I know the main pairing of the centre-backs will be most predominantly be Fofana and Colwill, but I've been really impressed with Tosin this season. There's no doubt about it why he shouldn't be in the fold at the centre-back role, and the same goes for Levi Colwill, who's played every minute of every game so far in the Premier League, and I feel like he's been absolutely phenomenal. He's leading from example, he knows what the club means, he knows how much it means to put that shirt on, and I feel like there's no reason why he shouldn't be in that pairing with Tosin. Malagusto on the right hand side, he played 45 minutes against Barrow, and he is back fit and he's ready to play. The only injury concerns we have is Reece James. Romeo Lavia is back into the squad. I don't think we'll see him start, but he is back into the squad. Mark Cucurella on the left hand side, I expect him to get some stick tomorrow due to the fact that he's playing against his former side. Nevertheless, he's had a really good start to the season. He's been fairly consistent in all fairness. Nothing special, but at the same time he's doing a job, and that's exactly what we need. In the middle, I've gone for Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. The pairing have been absolutely phenomenal, but one person that's really stood out for me is Moises Caicedo. He's really silenced the doubters, and he'll probably be another one that's going to get some stick after facing his former side tomorrow. There's no doubt about it that is the midfield pairing that is really comfortable for ourselves in the system. With a 4-2-3-1, then two holding midfielders to sit really deep, and they can attack at the same time, but they're so pivotal to how the system works, and there's no doubt about it why I don't see these two pairing up tomorrow. Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side, 2 assists out of 2. His creativity-wise, he's been really good in all fairness. There's nothing about his game whatsoever that's kind of doubted me about the signing from Manchester United, and he's been a real pivotal part on that left-hand side. So Jadon Sancho on the left. I'm going to stick with Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. Ever since the game against Wolves, I don't feel like he's been reaching the heights that he really should do in some respect, but in others, there's putting a lot of pressure on young shoulders. He's been really good so far this season. Hopefully he can back it up with a bigger performance tomorrow and see what he does against the Seagulls. Cole Palmer in the middle. I don't have to say any more on that. If you don't have him in your side, then what are you doing? If he's fit to play and it's a big game, then you need him in your squad because he is pivotal in that midfield. And I've gone for Nicholas Jackson up top, and this has been a big talking point since the Barrow match, whether it should be Nkuku or Nicholas Jackson. In all fairness, Nkuku has been absolutely phenomenal, and I've said this every time he comes on, he scores. There's something about him that just possesses goal-scoring ambition in his play. At the same time, Nicholas Jackson has been doing what he needs to do, and we need to reward him with that. And I think there's no reason why we should drop him. He's really good. His runs have been so phenomenal. He's taken his chances, and that's exactly what we didn't see last season compared to this. And I feel like if we were to drop him, I'd feel like it'd be slightly harsh. If things aren't going his way, then there's no reason why we can't make changes. But at the same time, I think Nicholas Jackson should be the striker for ourselves going forward, with very good competition from Christopher Nkuku. And the whole squad has competition, bearing in mind. We've got a very good depth of field this season. If you look back at the game against Barrow and the B team that we did actually side against Barrow, you wouldn't even think it's a B team. If some squads had that sort of team, they'd be laughing. But we are absolutely blessed with some of the players that we have got this season. It's just whether we can pull it together and get the consistency in terms of getting points on the road, points at home. And our form at home hasn't been as good. We haven't won a Premier League game at home as of yet. I know we only played 2, but I would like to see us win a Premier League game at home. This is it for this particular preview. I'm going to be doing a review after the game, as I mentioned. Give me some time to get home and so on, and I will be doing a review on it. But I'm looking forward to it. I don't see why we can't get 3 points. It's a big game, big time to test us and see what we can do. So let's get stuck into it and let's hope for all 3 points at the bridge. And as I said, that is it for this particular video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.